Hello and what is going on, guys? Tomcat here and welcome back to Forza Horizon 4, where we're going to be driving my 350Z drift car, at least around for a little while the way you guys know it from the original drift build video, and then after that we're actually going to be throwing it in the shop, swapping in a V8, changing the color, and then taking it back out again to see what it's actually like with that V8. But that's not the actual point of this video. The point of this video is to talk about something that could be a potential, maybe not a leak, but just potential information about more Hoonigan-related Forza content coming next year. Now, in a recent video featuring Ken Block over on the Hoonigans channel, they said something very, very interesting. They were talking about Gymkhana 10, and basically what they said was that there's going to be some sort of extended cut for Forza, and it was related to something happening next year. Now, I don't know if that's going to be just a specific cut of a Gymkhana film that they've already produced, or if that's going to be something more Forza related, or if that means that there's potential for more Forza and Hoonigan collaboration in the future. Now, it could mean all of those things, or it could mean none of those things. And I'll let you guys actually look at the original video if you want to. There's going to be a link in the description below to where you guys can watch the original video over on the Hoonigans channel, so you can kind of get a little bit more of an idea of what they're talking about. Now, to be fair, the part where they talk about Forza is only a very minuscule part of the video. They don't really talk about it much. It's towards the end of the video, and I'll probably put the link in the description as a specific, timestamp in the video, so you guys can just jump right to it, and you don't really have to kind of feel like you're muddling around with a bunch of different things. Now, another thing that I did want to talk about is in preparing for Fortune Island, they have said that the new drift road, or not even drift road, but the new mountain road effectively is not only inspired by Fujimi Kaido, but supposedly it's going to blow Fujimi Kaido out of the water. Now, I haven't heard a statement that crazy in years, and Fujimi Kaido, again, my favorite Forza track of all time, and if they blow that out of the water, that will be literally the best thing ever happen to a Forza game, ever. Like, I don't think there's anything else that could have happened to a Forza game that would be better than a map that blows Fujimi Kaido out of the water. Like, now, obviously, we've all heard all these things before, like the Fortune Island mountain road and the drift road, this and that, the other thing, blah, blah, blah. But you know what nobody's talked about? Nobody's talked about getting ready. And that's the main reason why we're in our Drift 350Z today, is because I remember a lot of you guys liking this car. I remember you guys saying that it was one of your favorite builds that I've ever done. And if you read through the comments, there's a lot of people that say it's my favorite build. Or it's their favorite build that I've done. And honestly, I can understand why. I like this car a lot. But I also think that the GTR swap is not my personal preference for what this car could do and what this car could be capable of. So, as I stated in the video beforehand, we are going to be swapping in a 6.2-liter V8 and supercharging it for tons of torque, tons of power, and instantaneous response. Now, this GTR engine does have really good response, but you only get it up at the top end, and I know that you can do a little bit with gearing. You can try to get around that, but I would rather, in prep for Fortune Island, I would rather have my drift car ready to go. Now, this is probably one of my primary, if not my primary, drift cars outside of the Formula D stuff. Because the Formula D stuff, obviously, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy powerful. It's going to be crazy, not necessarily crazy easy, but you're going to be able to lay down some scores in the Formula D cars that a lot of your custom-tuned street cars may not be able to attain. Now, if you put the same driver in a street car that's been built into a drift car versus just throw them straight into a Formula Drift car, the Formula Drift cars do have more steering angle and more setup work than you're actually capable of doing to these street cars. Now, personally, I'm not so sure that that's the best way to go about things. I mean, I think that they should be able to, I think you should be able to take any of these cars to the level of the FD cars, because I think that if you can take these cars to the level of the FD cars, you should be able to. Because really, if you wanted to, in real life, you could go out and buy the parts that a lot of these Formula D cars use and a lot of the Pro-Am cars use. There are parts that you can buy off the shelf for steering angle, and stuff like that to get you a lot more extension in that steering rack. You can buy the extended, tie rods. You can buy the angle kits, the hub kits and all that kind of stuff. You can buy all those things, and I feel like if those cars, the competition cars, are running a lot of those parts, and they have the ability to, you know, to go and buy those parts from a manufacturer, I feel like you should be able to turn a street car in Forza into a car that's up to that level. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the way that the angle kits respond right now. I think they're great, but I do know that for a fact that the FD cars feel like they have just a little bit more. And of course, they're going to have a little bit more. It's a Formula D competition car. They're going to have more potential for big scores, especially that Viper. That Viper is almost on the end of OP. But this little Z is always going to be one of my personal favorites when it comes to drifting in Forza, and I really, really do enjoy it. I really, really do. Now, another thing about the Z is that the Z is always something that people have been, like, the community practically, like, begged and pleaded with them with the developers to bring this car back for Horizon 4. They've always like pleaded for this car, and for good reason. This car has a cult following. The Zs have always had a cult following, but particularly the 350Z, because they're plentiful. They can be had, you know, just about anywhere, and people turn them into road race cars. People turn them into drift cars. People turn them into drag cars. People turn them into just about whatever, and I feel like at a certain point, the 350Z is going to reach the same level as the 240SX, but not necessarily in a bad way. Whenever somebody says, like, oh, that's going to be the next 240, they think that, like, oh, that's going to be the next beater. And I feel like it's important to think about the 240 not just as a beater, but as a platform, because a lot of people, you know, you find a 240 with a blown engine, you know, you can take that and swap an LS into it. They make a bolt-in kit. You can take that and swap a 2J into it, or a 1J. They make bolt-in kits because that chassis is so widespread that you can pretty much do whatever you want with it, you know, within, like, the scope of whatever your project is. You could be simple and put an SR in. You could go crazy and put some kind of, you know, hell, you could put probably like a BMW engine in there if you really wanted to. You could put like an S54 in a 240 if you really wanted to. I mean, that'd be a weird swap, but it'd be interesting. It'd be cool. Now, we're getting off topic again, like I said, but this is our first car that's getting Fortune Island prep. And I know that this car didn't get any crazy prep. It just got an engine swap and a paint job, but our other cars are going to be getting a lot more prep. Specifically, our E46 M3 is going to be getting prepped. I'm trying to think of what other cars I should prep for Fortune Island. I know I'm going to prep the E46 M3 because there are a lot of my personal cars I'm going to prep for Fortune Island and make sure that they are tuned properly and tuned the way I like and set up the way I like, so we can go straight into Fortune Island with an army of drift cars. And not just that, but we're going to be doing some toge builds as well, which is basically a mountain driving related, you know, tight road related grip build and maneuverability build, similar to an autocross car, but basically an autocross car with a little bit more power, because on a mountain road, you also have straightaways. You know, not everything is corners, you know. And now some mountain roads are just corners, but you also, well, you have those little straightaways that connect the corners, and obviously those are going to be a lot, you know, maybe not a lot longer, but a little bit longer than the straightaways you're going to find in an autocross. And you want to have a little bit more power than an autocross setup does, but an autocross setup would actually work really well in the mountains because you're wanting that snappy turn-in response and that high grip, but you also want to have a little bit more power. So we're going to be focusing on our toge setups as well as our drift setups, making sure our drift setups are dialed in, as well as also getting our hands on the new Fortune Island cars that are going to be coming in with the expansion pack, like, for example, the crazy Funko Motorsports F9, you know, the 1750 horsepower buggy, which is just going to be gnarly and stupid and insane in every possible way. The new Ken blocks, for example, the RX-43, and that thing's gonna be a beast. And there's so many cars that are coming that I just can't wait to check out. And I'm sure, obviously, the Formula D cars are gonna be great, but I feel like it's important to focus not just on the new cars that are coming, but also the cars that we have built and the cars that we have prepared and the cars that I like and the cars that you guys like, to really get them ready for Fortune Island itself, so that when it comes out, when it rolls out, we can head straight to the mountain and we can go nuts. And if you guys have any cars that you would like to see prepped for Fortune Island, leave a comment below and I will prep the cars that you guys want to see. Now, also, if you guys want to make any more suggestions for that, you can leave them down here in the comments, or you can tweet them at me, or you can leave a comment on Instagram. Whichever you guys want to do, but rest assured, I will be reading your suggestions, and I will be taking a look at what you guys want in terms of Fortune Island Drift Car Prep, because it drops this Thursday, and I am so pumped for it. I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun, and we are getting, for the first time in a long time, we're getting a proper mountain toge road in a Forza game. Obviously, I've said that a million times, but I can't express how happy and excited I am that they finally realized that, like, hey, our game needs this, and our game needs it bad, and the community is clamoring for it, and we should really think about that. And so I'm excited, and I hope you guys are too, and be sure to click that subscribe button so you guys stay up to date on anything and everything Forza related, and I will see y'all in the next one. Talk to you guys later.